Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme tonight, Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets representatives of 8 Christian groups in Kerala's Kochi this evening in what is being seen as the BJP's big push to woo the community ahead of next year's general elections. It's the Prime Minister's second interaction with community leaders in less than 3 weeks. The last occasion was on Easter when he visited Delhi's Sacred Heart Cathedral and interacted with the Christian community, planted a tree. In the party's last national executive, Prime Minister Modi had made a strong case for reaching out to marginalized sections and minorities. Our first topic, the Prime Minister's minority push in Gujarat is the BJP set to, in Kerala in fact, is the BJP set to forge a new relationship with Kerala's bishops. That's going to be top of the program. Up next at 1:30, it's been 10 years since Sachin Tendulkar bid farewell to international cricket, leaving us all with tears in our eyes. Sachin remains perhaps India's favourite son, a cricketer who we all grew up watching. Sachin's success was our success. His failures were on our shoulders as well. Besides anything else, Sachin Tendulkar was and remains a brilliant human being, a true inspiration. Brett Lee joins us at 1:30 along with a panel of experts. You don't want to miss that at all. But first, seeking to expand its footprint in Kerala, the BJP, it appears, is doing a lot of things. There's a youth conclave which the Prime Minister addressed. Then there is a maritime taxi which the Prime Minister is also looking into, new train services as well, development in Kerala, but significantly a meeting with bishops as well. Joining us now, a very special guest, John Barla, the Union Minister of State for Minority Affairs, Government of India. Thanks, sir, very much for being with us. So, how has the Prime Minister's meetings with members of the Christian community, specifically bishops, gone off so far? What is the information that you can share with us?
No, already we have met all fathers and bishop and cardinal before. Many times I have met with all Christian leader of Kerala, and a nice meeting with them. And already our Christian are doing a great job in education, in health and social. That's why Modi is doing for his work. He always used to say, "Sabka saath, sabka vikas, and sabka vishwas and prayas." That means we have to unite together, and development will come. And we have to believe each other. Now every other country, Christian country and Muslim country, they accept the leadership of Modi. So why not should our Christian people? Why not our minority people? And now education policy. National education policy is good. Already our Christian people are doing a great job in education and health. That's why already I have met to them and I explained what Modi want to do for our country, for the Kerala, for in future also, in Northeast also, they accept the Modi ji leadership.
No, but Mr. Bala, but Mr. Bala, let me ask you some hard political questions. Now, a few Christian leaders who had been part of various splinter groups of a regional Christian party in Kerala, the Kerala Congress, floated a new outfit called the National Progressive Party. And there are others. Recently, you've had a Christian leader join the BJP as well. So is this essentially the Prime Minister looking to get into what the BJP hopes is an area that they'd be able to make a dent ahead of 2024, otherwise 2029?
Yes, all the next in 24 also will change the in political. Our Christian communities, they accept the modern leadership in 24 also, and 26 also we are going to win in Kerala.
24 and 26, both the national and the state elections.
People are joining.
You're going to
Christian
win.
People are already Christian people are joining in BJP because they want to work in Modi leaderships.
Sir, this comes at a time when there have been so many concerns expressed by the Christian community on violence against Christians. For example, President Murmu herself has expressed concern over reports of increasing persecution of Christians. This is after Christian leaders met her recently. She's told the community that she's going to look into this as well. So this being the case, how does this concern not affect Christians in Kerala?
Suppose and in Modi government after 2014, we make a government in Christian people are safe in Modi government, and now they have to come nearby in politics. We have to involve our Christian people are far from the politics. So in politics also, without political power, we cannot serve our people. So whatever issue, whatever grievance, now the government is running by the BJP government. So we have to come nearby, and if any grievance is there, if any issue is there, then we can sit with each other in talk, in table, open dialogue. Then we can solve all this problem. In future, we will do better.
But Mr. Balla, could you tell me what are statistics, since you are the Minority Affairs Minister of our country? Could you give us some ideas on atrocities against Christians in India? Any statistics that you have?
Already Christian people in India before independent or after independent in education and health and in social, they are doing great job.
No, so I'm asking you about atrocities against Christians in India. It's not only me who's asking. The Supreme Court has asked for this data as well. Have you? Why is it that the Supreme Court asked for this data in September last year? And even now, apparently, it's not been given. The Supreme Court said that, look, you have another 2 weeks. This was last month. Has the centre been able to give the Supreme Court the data that it seeks?
In short time, I cannot explain why he is going atrocity in India with Christian people. In short time, I cannot explain. They have the people of India. They don't know about the contribution of the Christian people. If they knows about the Christian contribution of the India in education and health, then the atrocity never happen in future.
So then how is it,
that's why we want to we want to solve this suppose atrocity, why it is happening. The peoples are doing whatever. In short time, I cannot explain. I have to sit. Then I can explain.
So let me try and
this.
explain, sir. The United Christian Forum, which monitors atrocities against Christians in India, recorded 598 violent incidents in 2022 from 21 states. Among the 28 states and 8 federally ruled territories in the country. They've sent this in a memorandum which is submitted to the president. Now, I don't know if you agree with these statistics or you disagree with these statistics.
Hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes. No. What I said, you have to sit in table, whatever issue, without dialogue, all this, we cannot solve all this. Before also they get agitation in front of the Jantar Mantar. But they didn't come to, as a minister, as a minority minister, they didn't submit any dispute and any grievance, any issue. They did not submit to me. And they go for agitation. But agitation cannot solve that problem over there. So our Home Minister also saying that come to us and whatever issue, we will solve all this. They don't want to sit. Now today, all the Christian leaders are sitting with the Modi. Whatever grievance they have, maybe they have put up all these things.
I understand. So one final question, sir. We heard what Mohan Bhagwat ji had said a couple of months back when he said that people of other faiths should be respected, and they should be allowed, and nobody should be prevented from practicing their own faith. Now we know that the BJP, in fact, Prime Minister Modi himself has made an outreach to the Muslim community, and now of course this outreach to the Christian community. So is this a larger process? Is this a larger process that we are seeing? Which is where the BJP is headed, not just for elections, but perhaps in trying to be a more inclusive party.
Already what I have said, why we met all the Christian leader, and our Pradhan Mantri, he went to Golda Church and met with all the fathers and bishop and sister. Why they are, you have to understand why we are going to meet them, why are sitting and meeting with them. To solve sabka saath sabka vikas.
Okay.
That is the meaning. Why we are going? Why I am going in Kerala again and again? I'm sitting with them to convince how
Barla
to.
Saab, one final question to you, sir. One final question to you. I understand what you're trying to say when you say that the BJP and the Prime Minister in this case are trying to sit with members of the Christian community and deal with all issues, and I think that's wonderful. But my question is, one of the key issues of the BJP has been conversion or forced conversion done by members of the Christian community. For example, in Karnataka, members of the Christian community have said that statistically this is not correct. Right, that this is not something that happens in a wide scale. So
that's why what I want to say, the people of India, they don't know about our contribution. That's why all these things happening in our country, in all our state. You have seen, you just a maximum in Christian school, in a university, college, either medical college, 98%, 90% non-Christian are getting education, but till today we did not, Christian people did not convert them. Every student there, either businessman, either political leader, their student educated their children in a Christian school, but till today nobody has conversion.
Great. So do you mean to suggest that conversions by illegal conversions by members of the Christian community, as reported by members of the RSS or the Bajrang Dal in Karnataka, are wrong?
I don't think so. The Christian people are conversing the Hindu people. This is not fact. That's why. But you are not saying
that is an absolutely key point. And
that is that you are our Christian people. They don't want to show their contribution. Before independent, after independent, you will got that every political leader, they get education from the Christian school. Subhash Chandra Bose and Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi and Jet Li, L.K. Advani and Smriti Irani, Piyush Goyal, Raj Thackeray family, Power family, and many others. And Vijay.
So, Mr. Barla, I want to make sure I've understood your point. Are you saying that members of the Christian community are not involved in illegal conversion of people of different faiths in the country? There may be one-off cases, but by and large, there is no trend. Are you saying that?
No, this is we are not doing. But what is happening in Modi leadership, all Christian are nowadays, all Christian people are joining in Modi. They are joining the BJP. They accept the leadership of Modi. That's why other communities, other party, political party, though are against party, they are doing all these things and blaming to the BJP.
Right.
That is the fact. Nowadays, only Hindu people are in BJP, not that. Then in the other party also in BSP, Congress,
no, but Barla Saab, I'm asking you about religious conversions, because you just mentioned about 2 minutes back that forced religious conversions are not happening, are not being done by members of the Christian community. Is that correct? All right. Apologies, that signal over there with the Minorities Affairs Minister has frozen, but I think that's a question which we need to probe more closely. Binoy Vishwam, the CPI Rajya Sabha MP, joins us. Dr. Michael Williams, President of the United Christian Forum. We're also joined by Rahul Ishwar. Binoy Vishwam, thanks very much for being with us. How do you see this outreach by the Prime Minister to members of the Christian community? I mean, irrespective of all that we've seen in the past and so many complaints by members of the Christian community, there appears to be a genuine outreach, not just to the Christian community, to the Muslim community as well. Do you welcome this?
I may request the Minister, Mr. John Ballarji, to tender apologies to the Christian community and all other minority communities and tell them that whatever they were preaching all over the country till today as a reason to unleash attack over them was wrong. And tell the minorities, especially the Christians, that their basic approach towards the Christian faith was thoroughly mistaken. I request the Minister and his Prime Minister also to tell the country that whatever they have written the bunch of thoughts by Golwalkar was baseless, and tell the whole nation that based on that falsehoods, anti-Christian approaches, what they did was anti-national, anti-secular, and all these deeds were against the unity of India. Let them tell like that and tender their apologies and accept the faith from the Christian minorities and Muslim minorities, and then let them open a new chapter. One more thing, let them apologize before the family of the Australian priest, Graham Staines,
yes.
And let them tender apology on the question of Father Stan Swami, who was brutally murdered.
I get your point. Let me take that across to Rahul Ishwar. Rahul, do you believe that on the basis of this big outreach by the BJP to the Christian community, and in light, in fact, of what we are seeing now, where that members of the BJP should actually owe an apology for their past practices and their past statements against the Christian community, whether it's on conversions or on anything else?
Vishnuji, two submissions. One,
Yes.
Kerala is home to the oldest Christian community in the world. We believe by AD 52, Saint Thomas, the disciple of Jesus Christ, came to Kerala, and we have one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. Nearly 400 years before Constantine and Holy Papacy or Rome rose, we had our Christian community. Second, please remember RSS, I'm not an RSS activist, but as a Hindu activist, RSS always had an outreach from the time of Sarsang Chalak Sudarshanji. They had a Isai Rashtriya Manch or a Christian Rashtriya Manch, a Muslim Rashtriya Manch. Even Mohan Bhagawatji categorically said that they have evolved from the earlier position Guruji Golwalkar did. Guruji Golwalkar himself have moved away from the hardline position that was expressed in Vicharadhara or bench of thoughts, like Binoy Vishwam sir was saying. And Guruji evolved into a center-right Gandhian, where he even said we don't need uniform civil code. What we need is diversity and unity. So, people evolve, our organizations evolve, and we should be welcoming that. And Modi ji is becoming increasingly acceptable. Sitting in Kerala, after discussions in regional channels about the same thing, there's a huge, admiration for Modi ji as a leader. All the Christian important padres or fathers are warming up to him. They understand that Modi ji is going inclusive, and he has went and met Pope Francis, who is a world-respected leader. So there is a realignment happening, and there is a genuine respect for Christian community and Muslim community from many of the senior Sangh leaders, which is a welcome move.
Yeah.
I think this is good for India as a whole, for our pluralistic framework, and we should be welcoming such move irrespective of any party, whether it be BJP, Congress, CPM, doesn't matter. Harmony and happiness is what every nation needs. When BJP, is moving to a center-right position, more inclusive, that is something that everyone has to applaud, and Modi ji is having that acceptance from all communities, beyond Hindu, Christian or Muslim.
No, so let me get a response. I think what you say is important. Dr. Michael Williams, do you welcome, the outreach by the Prime Minister?
I welcome any outreach. In the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord Jesus Christ said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will inherit the earth." So if the BJP's game plan is to inherit this earth, this land of India, they need to be actual, real peacemakers. I welcome any effort to build bridges, but genuine, sincere efforts, because it's not just Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, but it is also Sabka Vishwas. So earning that Vishwas, which seems to have been eroded since 2014, as we have seen violent incidents spike, as we have seen members of the Christian community being arrested across this nation on all trumped up charges of false conversion and etc., etc. I'd like to see this faith won back. I'd like to hear some solid statements coming out that show that they are putting their weight behind exactly what the Honorable Minister John Bawra has just stated.
And Dr. Williams, do you believe that, if I was to be cynical and said that this is being done entirely for an electoral standpoint, the BJP is perhaps the most awesome force when it comes to winning elections anywhere in the world. Would you say that, I was being cynical, or is that a fact?
Well, Vishnu, to any practical thinking human being, timing of any event is fairly crucial and important. We are looking at a national election looming large. We are looking at some key state elections looming large. And from 2014 here at this juncture of 2023, we are seeing this sort of a start of an outreach. It's nothing massive. It's limited to a particular state, but it's a start.
It's not limited
but
to
yes,
a particular state. I'll tell you why, Dr. Williams. They've just come off the back of incredible election wins in the Northeast. Many of those states are Christian states. And so perhaps you can suggest that it's riding on the back of that and demonstrating acceptability to members of the Christian community that the Prime Minister has gone to Kerala. It's a shrewd move. It shows his acceptance in a part of our country, which he wants to translate into acceptance in another part of our country.
Well, perhaps, Vishnu, but we must keep in mind that at the center within the parliament, there really isn't any specific Christian representation. Whatever was there for the Anglo-Indians of two members of parliament, that also has been scrapped. So as far as what the actual dynamics on the ground translate to are very different. And Christians joining in the Northeast states is because we all want progress. We all want to work hand in hand with the government. This is our government at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. This is our Prime Minister. And we have to respect policies that come out. So we all want to work together. And if by getting into the government, some key Christian community leaders are going to be able to make an impact that does bring about this process of peace and harmony that our country is so well known for, kudos to that, certainly.
Mr. Vishwam, you made a political point earlier on when you said that the Prime Minister needed to apologize for how the BJP have dealt with minorities in the past. But are you in Kerala worried about how the Prime Minister has been accepted today in that massive rally? The fact that you've got several Christian leaders speaking to him, the fact that there is greater acceptance perhaps in the Christian community now than there has been in the recent past of the BJP. Is that something that worries you politically?
No, we are not at all worried. Why should we worry? That's the culture of Kerala. The people in Kerala of all religions, they accept an invitation from anybody to come and meet them, to talk to them, exchange of views. It's quite common for Kerala. And those Christian priests who went and met the Prime Minister today, I don't know whether they have raised the concerns of the Indian Christians to the Prime Minister with all seriousness. In the month of February, I was also a witness. In Jantar Mantar, Delhi, there was a large-scale morcha where the Christian societies, a united forum was there. Several segments of the Christian faiths, they came there and they demanded protection for their faiths. They demanded protection for their lives. They demanded protection for their churches, for their cemeteries, for their nuns, for their priests. And they demanded that another stand storming should not take place in this country. And they demanded a panel, a minimum thing, a panel to look into those incidents. And you know that there are not few in numbers. Huge numbers of incidents that have taken place.
In fact, that's an important point, and I wanted to ask Rahul about that. Rahul, in as much as the Prime Minister is making this effort now, the fact of the matter is that you cannot wish away what has happened in the past. For example, in September last year, the Supreme Court asked the centre to tell it about actions taken by law enforcement agencies in cases of alleged anti-Christian violence in 8 states. And I believe even last month, the Supreme Court has asked the centre and given them a finite period of time and said, oh, where is this data? The centre went back to the state, to the Supreme Court and said, oh, it's taking states very time to get this data, compile this data. But, how difficult can that actually be? So the argument, Rahul, is that this data doesn't exist because, it's just not been compiled fairly.
Vishnuji, one humble submission. See, I'm a Hindu activist, but I was a part of Young Men Christian Association in Kerala. And, all of us studied in Christian schools, including my parents and grandparents. So great respect for the service they are doing. But there is an honest sticking point, which will definitely come up in debates. That's, as you rightly said, regarding forced conversion. And as you rightly pointed out, that forced conversion is an issue that needs to be further debated. Mahatma Gandhi, 80 years back, said, I would like to have an anti-forced conversion law. And it was a great Quran Pandit, that Maulana Asad, who spoke to the Christian cardinal, glaciers of Bombay at that time, regarding the disorganized nature of Hindu community and the fear of conversion. So there is a sticking point that has come up in discussion between various Hindu and Christian organizations. I believe apart from that, there should not be any violence. That's a given in any modern democracy. There should not be any violence. There should not be persecution. And we all genuinely believe in the great service that Christian community has done. But yes, there is a huge section of us who are apprehensive about the forced conversion angle, and there has been some kind of resentment in our minds regarding that. That's the reason why people like us, in a very responsible way, have called for a Gandhian model anti-forced conversion law, which is a sticking point. But right now, what is happening is more of socio-cultural and political. Kerala is having 18.36 or 18.5% Christian community who are very powerful, who are very well organized community, so they can take collective decisions. And because the Congress and the other parties are going a bit down, Christian community would like to create new equations and formulas, which is very legitimate and should be respected.
Sure.
That's the reason why Hindu-Christian unity without Islamophobia is something a welcome formula.
So,
that
Rahul, we are talking
there.
about Hindu-Christian unity now, which goes which goes beyond something just which is polite conversation. Are we talking about
let me be politically brutally honest. I believe a Hindu-Christian unity in Kerala minus Islamophobia, and Islamophobia angle shouldn't be there. There are many great Hindu leaders in Kerala who are absolutely not Islamophobic and who will never attack Muslim community and imaginary issues. A Hindu-Christian alliance, a political alliance in Kerala minus Islamophobia will be the birth of a new political equation in Kerala, just like Goa or just like Northeast. I think that is what Narendra Modi ji has in mind, even though he won't articulate it that bluntly like an ordinary man.
Rahul,
like
my
me.
friend, are you turning a leaf on this program on national television?
I'm being honest, and this is a truth everyone knows. Of course, political parties and official spokesperson may not be this blunt and brutally honest because they have their own sugarcoatings to do. But
Look,
this is the fact of the matter, and this is what we're looking at.
If our goal, and you know what Dr. Michael Williams was saying, if there are statements which call for our society being tighter, of people of different faith coming together much more closely, of an outreach to the Christian community, then that's something that we need to welcome. It needs to be matched with substance on the ground, but certainly the politics of more inclusion favors all of us in India. I think that to that end, it's a wonderful gesture by the Prime Minister. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. We're going to take a short break, move on to our next. It's not a debate because the debate is sorted. Who was the best? Sachin Tendulkar. He's turned 50 years of age. Certainly one of India's finest sons. The legend turns 50. What he means to us, that's what we're looking at. We've got a very special interview with Brett Lee as well. Welcome back. It's been 10 years since Sachin Tendulkar bid farewell to international cricket, leaving us all with tears in our eyes. Sachin remains perhaps India's favourite son, a cricketer who we grew up watching. Sachin's success was our success. His failures were on our shoulders as well. Besides anything else, Sachin was and remains a brilliant human being, a true inspiration. So, we're talking about the man himself, Sachin Tendulkar. Sharda Ugra and Sunandan Dele join me, and Brett Lee will be joining us in a little while from now. Sharda, what does Sachin Tendulkar mean to you?
My career started with his career. That's the joke I always make. He went sort of skyward. He's a star. No, I think in complete seriousness, he was in the 90s and the first decade of the 2000s. He was the central figure around Indian cricket, a very, very important, very influential cricketer, and a cricketer of great quality. And what is even more astonishing was, given the gifts that he had, is the fact that he happened to be a team man. I mean, he could have become a diva. He could have thrown tantrums in the dressing room. And I don't think we really appreciate that kind of part that he played, along with being an exceptional cricketer of, everyone who's played alongside him, with him, against him, said that there was actually a genius at work, and along with the genius, he was like an everyday genius, even in how he conducted himself in the dressing room. And
Sharda, what is an everyday genius? Anyhow,
an everyday genius is the non-diva kind of a thing. I could start taking players' names who were divas and who created and destroyed teams as they went along, and there were plenty of those in the 80s and 90s, and that's why he was an everyman and an everyday genius.
Sunandan Lele, you've been very close to Sachin. Let's not talk about cricket. Tell us about Sachin, the human being, because I think, in as much as we love his cricket, He's a wonderful person.
Vishnu, you are absolutely right, because he's a great cricketer and an outstanding human being. Me and Sharda knows that for sure. Once I asked this question to Rahul Dravid. Rahul Dravid told me whatever he has performed on the ground is one thing, but the way he himself conducted in the dressing room, that spelled magic, because he was so calm, he was so quiet and normal. That Indian dressing room, which they call it as their second home, it was very, very pristinely clear, nice, and atmosphere in the dressing room was very good. And that created magic for the Indian team. So, outstanding human, Sharda was spot on. He's a brilliant team man.
Andrew Miller, the UK editor of ESPN Cricinfo, is with us, as also Ratnakar Shetty, the former general manager of the BCCI. Andrew, we are talking about Sachin, the human being, first, and then we are talking about Sachin, the cricketer. Do you have any thoughts about Sachin, the human being, the way he's conducted himself, the way he's been humble? For example, I just found that, his reaction to being called by Donald Bradman as, he sort of seems to be a little bit like the way I batted. His reaction, humility, the way he responded to that, and it's just a part of his personality that we've all loved. Is there anything that you liked about Sachin, the human?
Well, funnily enough, the first time I saw Sachin in the flesh was also the very first time I went to a test match. I was aged 12 and he was 17, but obviously he was a very young 17. And, I remember vividly because it was the Oval Test in 1990. And so that was the very first game after he made his century. So, everybody knew that this guy was going to be good, but I don't think anyone had quite realised, having seen that century to save that game and the manner in which he scored and all the rest of it, all of a sudden, almost overnight, I think he experienced a new level of fame. He clearly, in India, everyone knew he was the coming kid, but now suddenly he had this 100 and he was incredible. I remember him coming down the steps at the dressing room in the Oval, and there were a load of autograph hunters packed around, myself included. And I remember, I swear I saw straight into his soul. He came around the corner and went, oh my God, he's never seen so many people before in his life, all hankering after a piece of him. And he was tiny. We all remember him as that teenager. And I just remember being in absolute awe of him, even at age 17. And funny enough, the story got even sillier because I was there with my cricket bat. I've got it here actually. First cricket bat I ever had. I got it signed by most of the team. But the pen that I used for him and Kapil Dev, of the two great players I really wanted from the Indian team, it didn't work. So I had for many years a great scratch on the wood. No actual imprint of Sachin from that moment.
Ratnakar Shetty, tell us a story about Sachin. Not about his cricket. Tell us about something else about him.
Yeah, I'm very happy you are asking me to talk about other than cricket. And for me, I think having seen him from his school days till he retired as an international cricketer, a couple of things that I always admired in him was his self-discipline, his respect for the game and the equipments that he used, his respect for his coach, and unstinted love for Mumbai cricket and Indian cricket. And I have not seen something of that type, because he wouldn't like to miss any games. He had gone to Pakistan for where he made his debut. When he came back, his college had reached the finals of the intercollegiate tournament, and he wanted to play that final after coming back from Pakistan. The opposing team was not favorable to his playing because they said that his name was not in the list of players. But we allowed him to play. He scored a double 100. And I still remember, for every day of that 3-day game, Achrekar sir used to take him on his scooter at lunchtime to Garware clubhouse and bring him back to the game. That was the relation he had with his coach, and I feel that played a major role in what he went on to become. I think every accolade that he has earned, he fully deserved that because of the factors surrounding him.
Sharda, I think we just don't talk about the enormous weight of expectation which he shouldered for so many decades. It would drive anybody Crazy, absolutely. It didn't drive him crazy at all. But it's something obviously which he had to deal with all his professional career. The expectation of 1 billion people. It's unreal.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. I think people who were teenagers, who grew up, like I was in my 20s in the 1990s, and all of us who were there at that time, and we just saw the attention and the pressure that was on him. And every time you talk to him about it, literally, like he was shut off from the world in many ways. But when you saw him in the middle, it was like there was no pressure at all. He always said that he said it's not pressure. I think it lifts me rather than it bears down on me. Off the field, it was obviously tougher, but on the field, it was like he almost reveled in it and he got a lot of energy out of it and he responded in that way. And I think we also forget that he was a tremendous competitor. He loved competing, and he said, I interviewed him once, and he said the only people I can bear losing to are my children. So he was that kind. He was that kind of a competitor, and we forget that. We forget his competitiveness, which I think came out particularly when he used to bowl. Every spell he bowled, it was like a little piece of entertainment in the sense he was there getting stuck in to try and get the batsman out, and he claimed a huge number of wickets for India. I think 200, close to 200. So a tremendous competitor who loved being on the field was what made him, the person he was. It showed you the true person that he was.
Andrew, Sachin ultimately became not just an Indian hero or an Indian icon. He was loved, and I use that word deliberately, throughout the world. In England, in Australia, the fact that you have a Lara Tendulkar stand in Australia now, the fact that he was considered gold in England, where he played extensively. He played club cricket as well. How was he so loved for what he was, not just in India but around the world?
It's a very good question. I think it's because we just saw him grow up. I think obviously it was much more obvious for India, the first sort of TV icon to really grow up on screen, I suppose, for the Indian audience. But we got that as well. In those days, Test cricket was still the big deal. And him growing up through the ranks of Test cricket and being as good as we always thought he could be, I think that was just a captivating part of the story. You look at all these under-19 kids starlets who can win World Cups and look like they're going to be the next big thing, but how many of them ever go on to genuinely great things? Very few. And in fact, Tendulkar was earmarked from such a young age, and in the end, 200 tests later, he lives up to every ounce of the expectation that could ever been put on him. It's an incredible story. And just in terms of him being loved in England, again, having been there for his first tour in 1990, I was back at Lord's for the 2011, the memorable match, the 2000th Test, when it went into that final day with all 4 results possible, and the queues around the ground for people to get in. Bear in mind, the 5th day at Lord's, it's a ticket only, so first come, first serve on the gates. And the queues going down the Wellington Road, we had not seen anything like it in English cricket. And that was entirely the Tendulkar factor. Obviously, there was a match for India as a whole to win, but the fact that Tendulkar could have got, I think it would have been his 100th 100 as well, wouldn't it, if he got there? So everything was building towards that moment. He didn't get there on that occasion, but the very fact that Tendulkar was in the building, probably for the last time, we came out en masse to worship him, frankly, because we'd watched the journey like everyone else.
I got a chance to watch his last Test innings in Delhi. It was just unbelievable, just the crowd support over there. Ratnakar Shetty, how did we as a generation of Indians sort of enjoy life when Sachin did well, and then felt sad when Sachin did badly? It's almost that his joy and his sadness was our sadness and our joy.
True. I think I would put it a bit more generally that the aspirations of Indians goes up and down with the performance of Indian cricket team most of the times. Particularly if you're playing Pakistan, it is more. And as far as a person is concerned, I think everybody was waiting for him to do well, praying for him to get 100. That's the kind of relation that he developed with the fans all over India and abroad, as you rightly said. because on the tour of Pakistan in 2004, on the very first day when we landed in Lahore, at the hotel when we were having dinner, there was a line of youngsters to take his autograph. It was something which was a surprise for me. And his popularity, therefore, irrespective of whichever country where he goes to play, was the same. He was adored, actually.
Sunandan, is it true that ghee, roti and chini was his go-to meal?
Yeah. Given an option, Vishnu, he was he is out and out non-vegetarian. But let me narrate you one story which will bring out something humorous for all of us. We were traveling from Mumbai to Nasik one day, and in car we were four of us. Sachin was driving himself, Atul Ranade, his schoolmate, and Vinod Naidu and myself. We were traveling from Mumbai to Nasik, and Nasik was just nearing by. And we were standing at the signal because signal has gone red. And one couple was just standing just next to Sachin. And if you observe that if an Indian woman is wearing a sari and sitting on a scooter, she will be sitting on one side and her husband was on the front side. And Sachin just told me, Sunandan, maza dekh le. And the moment that red signal gone yellow, he just opened his car window. Sachin's face and that lady's face was just this distance, and he just said namaste, and that woman had gone mad and she was screaming in her husband's ear like mad, and all of us started laughing. Oh my God, I cannot forget these type of incidences.
That is absolutely incredible. Look, it's been wonderful speaking to you, but we've got a wonderful interview with Brett Lee. My colleague Rika Roy speaks with him. Brett Lee, of course, has had some of the most intense rivalries with Sachin Tendulkar. Listen in.
Thank you very much, Vishnu. We are almost in the middle of IPL 2023, but what we are talking about tonight is about Sachin Tendulkar, him achieving yet another half century, and former Australian pace sensation Brett Lee, who picked him the maximum number of times in international cricket, 14 times. He pays a tribute to the master. Brett, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. Tell us your experience of this edition of IPL first. Is this the closest you have seen in the last 16 seasons, 30 plus games, and where the league table stands today?
Yeah, look, I think with obviously 10 teams again this year for the second year in a row, it's been incredible, because what I have noticed is that, the teams are logged at the top. There are a number of teams that are on 8 points. Obviously CSK are on 10, but just go to show with Delhi, they're on 2 points. Only won one game, but they're only 2 points off getting into that middle period. So for me, that's really exciting. It's probably the first year that I've seen the table be so close, which is great for cricket lovers and great for us commentators.
But as a bowler, how would you describe the matches being heavily tilted towards batters? Several 200 plus scores this season.
Look, I'll always say that every cricket match is in favour of the batters. That's just probably from a bowler's point of view. And if you ask a batsman, they'd probably say the opposite. But no, look, I think there's been some wickets which have been conducive to fast bowling. If you look at LSG's home venue in Lucknow, on the red soil, outstanding. Big opportunity for bowlers to take wickets up front and see a lot of runs scored. And then if you look at on the other side of the square, you play on the black soil, which I think's a very tough wicket to play on, that only sort of is in favour of the spin bowlers, hard for the batsmen too. So, but all in all, I think it's been a wonderful tournament. And it's only going to get better because we're just approaching halfway through, and now we'll see teams come into their own. We'll actually see teams be super involved, and the teams will start to settle a bit more. A lot of teams already, like CSK, are generally pretty settled, but other teams that have chopped and changed, like KKR, etc.,
right,
they will need some time to settle, and that should happen soon.
Now, Brett, let's talk about the news of the day. Sachin Tendulkar's 50th birthday, and time to remind fans of the great rivalry that you two had. You snapped him up 14 times, the most by a bowler. How do you recall those battles with Sachin Tendulkar?
He's a legend. It's as simple as that. A legend on the field, a legend off the field. And that's the reason why I put up a special tribute today on my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, just to say to him along the lines of, I've witnessed, many great half centuries in your cricket career, but this has definitely been your finest, for him to personally bring up a milestone of the age of 50 and many more to come. So I gave that little tribute today. I also sent him a message on his phone, his personal phone, just to wish him happy birthday, because it's a big event, turning 50. My birthday's in 3.5 years, my 50th. Can't even believe I'm even talking about that. Still feel like I'm 30 or 40. But yeah, look, it's a huge honour to know him. It's a huge honour for him to turn 50, but it's an honour for us as cricket lovers to appreciate the great man Sachin Tendulkar, that the joy and the love that he brought many or millions of fans around the world.
Well, Brett, it's always intriguing for me to know. Sachin spoke about visualization, but would you say that Tendulkar was visualizing the ball out of the bowler's hand even before the bowler had bowled to him?
Well, for me, there's so many things or so many words that you could use to describe Sachin Tendulkar. You could pick a million things, and for example, timing. So with bowlers, and if I'm bowling a ball at 160 Ks, for me, I'm trying to rush the batsman. I'm trying to create a moment where the batsman feels rushed. So they normally got about 0.3, 0.4 of a second, so less than half a second, to make up their mind where the ball pitches, if the ball's shaping or swinging, is it moving off the seam, what type of shot they have to play. Sachin Tendulkar was the only batsman that I played against where it just felt like he had that extra bit of time. So most batsmen, and I'll use the example of when a batsman stands with his feet either side of the popping crease, the crease line, it felt like Sachin was behind the stumps. That's how much time he had. Obviously he wasn't, but that's how it felt as a bowler.
Brett, in this age of IPL, how relevant would you say Sachin Tendulkar still is?
He would have made a brilliant player in the IPL now, as would have a lot of other players around the world if they had the opportunity. But it's a different era too. And the thing is, we both played a little bit of the back of the Indian Premier League, which was a lot of fun. But now it's over to the younger generation coming through. The young guys, and MS Dhoni will also go through that at some stage, whether this is his last year or whether next year will be his last year, who knows? But you can't play forever. That's the thing. His legacy will always live on longer than he'll, with hundreds of years to come. But the legacy is what is so important, because he's created that legacy that generations of cricketers to follow will still know who Sachin Tendulkar is, even though that he's been long retired.
Brett, playing in the V while a batsman is batting is almost a forgotten art. Would you say Sachin Tendulkar will be remembered as that man who batted in the V?
Well, look, playing in the V is still very important. Obviously, it's predominantly a lot more important when you're thinking about Test cricket and then I guess one-day cricket. But also, too, you see some of these shots that are played now in T20 cricket, guys going down and lapping, guys reverse lapping, hitting shots over their heads. The caliber of shots now is, it's mind-blowing what they can do. But I still believe my favourite shot, and it's still being done today, even in T20 cricket, where we're seeing quality batsmen still hitting in the V. It's so important, because if you kick the ball on the ground, you can't get caught. It's that old cricket saying. But the game's evolved, the game's changed, but there's still room for playing in the V.
Now, let me ask about you being the most fierce competitor, one of the most fierce competitors that Sachin has faced. Which is the area you were always wary of bowling to Sachin? And what has been your best shot of Sachin Tendulkar, your most favourite shot?
Anywhere. There's a lot of praying before I went out, a lot of praying that I wouldn't get carded for 4 or hit for 4. For me, the favourite shot watching Sachin, and it's happened on a number of occasions against me, was, I'd bowl what I thought was a perfect outswinger, and he'd show the full face of the bat, going straight back, hit the ball back past my left foot, past the umpire for 4, the straight drive or the drive-through cover. To me, that was Sachin Tendulkar at his best. Yes, he had the hook shot. Yes, he had the cut. Yes, he had the back foot cut, the flick off his toes. But for me, driving a fast bowler past the fast bowler for 4, that was pretty cool to watch.
Brett, as you say that, I'm just getting goosebumps because I do visualize that straight drive of Sachin's. Now, Sachin for me stood for innovations. Now, talking about innovations, there have been several in IPL over the years. What is it this time around that has influenced you, particularly you working with a broadcaster that has, brought in new and unique things to the game?
Yeah, well, look, for me, working with Geo Cinema has been a game changer. And it's a game changer in a sense of we are now going out to a whole different audience. When you think about all the people that would normally not get the opportunity, the fans that wouldn't get the opportunity to watch the IPL, have now got the opportunity through 12 different, dialects, I guess, 12 different entities to watch it. So
languages,
they've got,
I believe, yeah.
With English channel and a Hindi channel, there are 10 other channels in 10 different languages, 12 different languages, in fact, to cover the IPL through Geo Cinema. For me, it's like working with a close family. I'm working alongside the greats of the game, guys I've played against throughout my whole career, from Zahir Khan to Parthiv Patel to Graham Swan to Chris Gale to Scott Styris to Graham Smith, just to mention a few. It is a phenomenal team to work with. But as I said, the great thing about Geo Cinema is that now we're reaching out to those that would never have had the opportunity to watch IPL and do it in a fun environment where they're not only learning and watching the game, but they're learning about us as insiders. We're giving them a different opportunity to learn about the game from our perspective and what we've learned.
Brett, the broadcaster you're working with broadcasts in 12 languages, and how many of those languages are you broadcasting in?
10.
Yes, we do get that. 1, 2, 3, 3 languages you speak. Thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast and talking about your experiences in that comm box, as well as years of rivalry with Sachin Tendulkar. It was splendid having you with us this evening.